Welcome to the Rock and Wellness Podcast, the show that takes you on a voyage to better health, wellness, and happiness that will rock your world. With me, R.J.O, your host, your coach, and your biggest fan. Welcome to episode 15 of the Rock and Wellness Podcast. I am your host, R.J.O. Although many women come to me because they're struggling with their weight, I often find that their biggest issue is really more about lack of self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence, and just not having a positive mindset. That is why I'm really excited to share the conversation I'm going to have with my special guest, Klassen, today, because she is one of the coaches that has helped me get to where I am today. Klassen is the author of the Amazon bestselling book, Living in the Freedom Frequency. Karen is also a breakthrough coach for over 20 years, empowering couples, individuals, and business owners to cultivate their brilliance and live the life they dream of from the inside out. From being on welfare to owning a six-figure coaching and seminar company, from drug and alcohol addiction to empowerment, from disease to healing herself to optimal health, and from abusive relationships to a higher love. Karen shares how anyone, no matter what they have done, not done, or who they are, can spiral up and experience freedom, peace of mind, and live a beautiful life. So welcome, Karen. I'm so very excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Rachel, thank you for having me. I'm very excited. I'm actually getting truth bumps through my whole body. It's amazing.
So, Karen, I was thinking back to kind of when we first met. Do you remember that day? How long ago was that now?
I do. It was a women's networking event, and I had to go to the bathroom. And there you were. I did not know you, and we just started chatting in the washroom, and I just felt like you were a soul sister, that I was meant to meet you, and I was just so glad that we connected in that moment.
Do you remember what you asked me?
I don't remember what I asked you.
You asked me a specific question. I was trying to think of it, but it was something like,
What was your passion?
yeah, or something like that. And it was like, that's not a usual question that's asked in the women's washroom, but it was great because it really took us on a trajectory for really a long relationship. And like I said, you have helped me come a long way in becoming who I am and stepping into my divine, which I believe is a lifelong process.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I just don't think I'm personally the same person I was back then. So it's very cool to even just reconnect now, and especially in this current climate a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we come up. So like your bio states, Karen, you're the author of a book called The Living in the Freedom Frequency. Now, I really want to dive in since our topic today is about how to live in this freedom frequency. So can you kind of talk a little bit about what that means for people who've maybe never heard that term and how people can find and live in the freedom frequency?
Absolutely. I do have a copy here. This is a book that I was downloaded, 1995. And because when I was younger, just to give you a bit of a background on my journey, I, as you mentioned in my bio, that I used to struggle with alcohol and drugs and attracting men who were very abusive. And the reason is because I lacked self-esteem. I did not know who I was, and because I didn't know who I was mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I was attracting everything in my life that was unhealthy and did not really give me the opportunity to experience something that was so much more beneficial for my heart and soul. And I had a spiritual awakening in 1993, thankfully. It changed the course of my life. I do believe that we all have that experience where there's a fork in the road, And we can say to ourselves, do I want to continue on the path that I'm on right now? Or do I want to try something new? And I knew that if I continued on this path, I would just get the same experience over and over and over. And I knew that I was here for something more. I just knew in my heart. And so I just started this new journey, and that moment made that final decision to say, yes, I am spiraling up, and I need to know who I truly am on a soul level. And in downloading the book, I discovered that we are living in two basic emotions, fear and love. And as many of us, we don't even realize we're living in fear, and we can allow that fear to trap us, and it's like a self-imposed prison. And we don't even realize that we have put ourselves into this prison cell in our own subconscious mind. And so the more we begin to take that deep dive, the inner journey, then we begin to awaken what's truly possible for us. And as I began to take the inner journey and let go and unplug from the external world, I began to develop my own psychic abilities, my own creative abilities, to begin to manifest the life that I knew was possible for me within my soul. And I remember reading Anthony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, and no one before me reading that book had ever even told me it was possible for me to live another life, that I could actually live an amazing life. And so, yeah, it's been an amazing journey since that day. And I'm just really, really blessed to be able to share what living in the freedom frequency is all about. So, Rachel, what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with your listeners a really powerful exercise, because I can explain living in the freedom frequency. However, if they, I do believe a visual is such a really powerful tool. And it's a really simple exercise that they can do at home. So what they can do is just, as we're moving through sharing and talking on this podcast, they can pause and then go to their journal and write, what is meaningful for them. So in their journal, or they can just grab a piece of paper, they would want to write or draw a horizontal line in the middle and then a vertical line on the side. And so then what I would ask them to do is, because most people have no idea what fears they have. So all of the negative emotions that we experience in life is every single negative emotion, perceived negative emotion, is related to fear in some way. So if they write down all the negative qualities or emotions that they experience, every day or every week or month or so, and write them down. So that can be an example of anger, betrayal, sadness, illness, depression. And just to write a list, and the bigger the list, the better, because then it allows them to really know for themselves what negative emotions they're here to heal and release and let go of. So once they have those negative emotions, charted on their diagram, then on the top, in this top square, they can write out then all their positive emotions. And the positive emotions are like compassion and everything that we're yearning for, that we want more of in our relationships, that we want more of in our life. Love, right? Joy, laughter, hugs, especially right now. We want more hugs. We want more touch. We want more intimacy. We want more connection. Health, right? And as they become clear on these emotions that they want more of, then we know that these negative emotions that are below the line are all fear-based. Every negative emotion at the core of it, at the root, is based in fear. So fear of being misunderstood. Right now there's a huge fear of death, a huge fear of of being alone, of being isolated, fear of being judged, fear of being criticized. And so when we become aware of the emotions that we're experiencing in our life, then we can begin to do something about it. And go, okay, these here emotions are not serving me. I want more of this. So how can I tap into more love, more kindness, more joy, and to know that everything that we're experiencing in the outer world right now is all of the fear that we've been suppressing on a collective conscious level is all rising up right now to be felt, to be realized, to be acknowledged, and to be released, so that we can rise up into the divine nature of who we truly are. So if you look at all the positive emotions above the line, this is where we would write in this column our soul, our light. And here we would write in ego. This is the ego mind. Not that the ego is bad, it is a part of our reality. We must have the ego in order to live in this third dimensional reality. However, we're meant to put that ego back in its rightful place.
I love that exercise. So what I'll do actually, Karen, too, is I'll put that on the show notes so that people, when they visit, if they're not quite sure of that visual, if they're just listening to the podcast, you guys can also see it in the video. So really powerful exercise. So in this current climate, you already talked a little bit about it. You know, you see clients on a regular basis. What do you think the top issues people are having right now in this climate that we're living in?
Right now, this is the time of the Great Awakening, and we are waking up to everything that we have suppressed, hidden under the rug. We're waking up to the elephant in the room. And right now, we are seeing how everything that we have hidden in our own home, in our own relationships, which is the micro, we're now experiencing the macro. So we're seeing all the manipulation that has been occurring and the corruption that's been occurring. We're experiencing everything that we've hated, that we have been angry about, or we've suppressed within our own psyche. So all of it, all the darkness, all the demonic thoughts that we've ever had is now showing up from a collective conscious level to be healed. And when we can look at it from a place of healing, from a place of knowing that we're in an incredible time, an opportunity to transform our own mental state, to really begin to feel our anger instead of lashing out to people. This is really a powerful time for humanity to know, again, as a collective, we have two timelines right now. There's a fork in the road. There's a fork in the road, and we're being called right now. What road are you going to take? Are you going to be taking the road that goes down into fear? Do you want to still live in fear and allow for authority to control your life? Or are you going to take the path to connect to your own divine will and to connect to that path of love and freedom and spiral up? Because right now we're being called to spiral up and awaken to who we truly are as a divine human being. Many of us have forgotten who we are. And when we forget who we are, it's like waking up, opening our eyes and saying, oh my gosh, I've been living in hell. I've allowed myself to live in hell, and I didn't realize the devil was in my house. I'm not a religious person. I'm more of a spiritual person. And I'm recognizing how we've allowed a demonic mind to control this world. And we're all being called to wake up from the darkness, to remember our divine nature, to remember the God within ourselves, that Christ consciousness within our own soul, to wake up to the love that is who we are, so that we can rise up out of this third dimensional reality of fear and polarity, to rise up into what is referred to as the fifth dimensional consciousness, which is pure love. It all exists right here, just on different frequencies. And it's right now, it's our choice and our responsibility to wake up and say, oh my gosh, enough is enough. This is not the world I'm choosing to live in. I'm now choosing a world of love. And in order for that to happen, I first must be the love. I must act from a place of kindness. I must heal my own anger issues that I have with my spouse or my ex-wife or my children or my parents. We're being called right now to heal our relationships, because whatever's going on out there in the world is a reflection of what's going on within our own minds.
So Karen, so somebody takes that list. I completely agree with everything you're saying. So somebody takes that list and they write it down and they realize how much fear they actually have in their life. So what is the danger on a personal level, maybe personal, spiritual, mental, community, global level? What's the danger of someone staying in that negative space?
Unfortunately, a lot of people only wake up when there's tragedy or trauma. And if we wait for life to wake us up, life smacks us on the ground really, really hard. And I'm calling to people right now to wake up, right now to a deeper truth within yourself, to find a way to acknowledge your own fears. The moment we say, oh my, I had no idea that I've been living in fear. I had no idea I've been living below the line my whole entire life. I had no idea. And I have allowed my anger to control my life. I've allowed my depression to take on my whole entire life. We're meant to feel all of those emotions. We're not meant to live there. We're not meant to stay stuck there. And once we can begin to acknowledge those negative emotions, then we can begin to look at the problem. And we have to make friends with the problem. We have to allow ourselves to grieve, to love ourselves, to be compassionate with ourselves. One of the greatest tools I know is meditation. And I know you've had a couple of amazing guests on your podcast. And I'm so honored that I'm on your show, because I think more people need to wake up to really stepping into their health and their wellness. And so thank you, Rachel. As we begin to take that journey to going within, we need to start unplugging from the television. We need to stop watching the news. We need to unplug from the external reality and go within and discover our own mind. And I would love to take your listeners on a mini journey, introduction to their own mind, because we need to begin to discover a higher voice. We have the ego mind, which is a very destructive mind. If we have no control of the ego, that ego mind wants us to stay in separation. The ego mind wants us to fail in our relationships. It wants us to stay small, to stay stuck in fear. And there is another voice that we need to begin to listen to, and that is the voice of our higher self. And we begin to listen to that voice begins to empower us and assist us on the journey to rising up into the freedom frequency.
All this talk, actually, when I'm just going to go back for a bit, and you talked about how we've been allowing the devil to take over. There was a book by Napoleon Hill, and I think it's called Interview with the Devil or something like that. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, you've got to read it if you haven't. I've listened to it on audiobook probably 20 times because it's exactly what that talks about, is that he kind of says in there that 98% of the population is controlled by this devil, on quotation marks, and that really only 2% of people are living in what you're calling above the line. And if this, the year of 2020, as you mentioned when we were talking before, the year of vision, there's going to be a lot of eyes being opened to this fact. And I think, kind of like I'm going to relate it to how when I start teaching people about living or eating a plant-based diet, it all of a sudden starts to smack people in the face and go, well, that's not what I've been told. So they have to break some of those limiting beliefs of what they've been always known to kind of go, okay, it's time now to step into something new. And that's, I think, what you're talking about here, right? Is that so many people are used to sitting in that fear energy, but now they're being called and pulled to something new, but yet that ego still kind of fighting them a little bit, right? Because it wants to stay in that space. It's almost scared to allow people to move forward into that higher energy space.
Yes, absolutely. And right now, a lot of people have no idea, but we are in World War III right now. It's a war of the mind. And as much as we have this battle going on, right, between God and the devil in the external world, we have the inner war going on, and that is the war between the soul and the ego. And is it in the year of 2020 and in the decade ahead, this is where we're being called to have real eyes. So real eyes realize real lies.
Mm.
And how much we've been lying to ourselves is what is being called to be healed. Because the only way we're ever going to spiral up into pure freedom, into true freedom, into the real divine realms of enlightenment is the path of truth. And this is where we really need to get real with, where do I lie to others, of course? Where do I lie to myself? Am I lying to myself about the relationships I'm in? Am I lying to myself in regards to who I think I am? Am I lying to myself on the beliefs I hold to be true? Am I willing to look at the beliefs I have right now? And am I willing to create new empowered beliefs so that I can move forward? Because so many of us, you're absolutely right, Rachel. It's when I take my clients on I call them the divine mind conversation journeys, and it's hypnotherapy, and it's so powerful. And every client I take on this journey, I've taken hundreds and hundreds over the years. Every subconscious mind is exactly the same in its environment, and you can walk down the stairs in your mind, and every human being has a dungeon. It's almost like the castle, the mythology of the castle, and then underneath the castle is the dungeon. Everyone has that dungeon within their mind, and everyone has their own image of the devil, of the Lucifer that is controlling them. So right now, when we move from 3D consciousness, which I mentioned is the polarity, where we're moving into 5D, we first must move through fourth dimensional consciousness, which is the underworld. And the underworld is the invisible realms of who we are. So in the 3D dimensions, our 3D reality, we experience ourselves, the physical aspect of ourselves. We touch, taste, everything, right? It's right here. The invisible reality is our mind, our thoughts, our belief systems, our emotions, what we choose to feel on a daily basis in every minute, and then the spiritual aspect of ourselves. And so all of those aspects of who we are is the underworld. And again, you're absolutely right. 99% of our reality is below the line, and that is the demonic, it's the devil on the shoulder, right? It's the demon within our mind. And so we need to clear the demon, the demonic aspect of ourselves, so that we can create heaven on earth. And that's what we're being called to do right now.
Well, and as you know, I've been through those journeys many times with you and even on my own. And it's not always pretty, is it? It's actually, I think this is where a lot of the times when you're coaching people, I'm coaching people, we understand now because we've gone through it ourselves, but we understand when a client fights it a little bit, right? I know I did for a long time because I didn't want to see what was below. And I didn't want to see some of these things that I've been lying to myself about as, things that need to change. Even I think in the world today, I look at some of the things that are happening and I'm going, how can some of this be true? These lies that we've been fed for so long. It's almost a cognitive dissonance where I'm going, and I'm sure, and I'm know I'm not the only one going like, this is so unbelievable. I can't even believe this is happening right now. And that's kind of in a worldly global scale, but I'm sure people are feeling that same when they go and look inside going, there's no way this is what I see as a truth. There's no way I've been lying to myself about this. This is who I've always thought that I am. So
Yes.
how does somebody get the courage to do this work?
Yeah, and that's again, that is where we're being called right now to say yes before life slaps us on the ground, before life begins to create the prison cell, right? The tragedy, the trauma. And so this is where we are being called to no longer be afraid of our own mind. If we are afraid of the external world, it's a reflection of the fear we have of the self. And it's only by having the courage, we're being called to rise up and have courage, to open the heart to courage. And it is where we need the guidance. We need the guidance right now more than ever. I know the coaching industry there is booming right now because so many people are going to be are waking up, and I'm so grateful, Rachel, because I woke up over 20 years ago, and so I knew all about the Illuminati back then. I knew about the Luciferian cults, and I knew what they were all about. I knew what the controllers of the world, they had the control of the media and of the healthcare system and the education system, everything. And so I knew that we were all being programmed on the television and television. So they were telling their vision, and we needed to unplug and create our own vision of reality and discover our own truth. And I find that when people begin to say yes to meditation, even if it's 15 minutes a day, to sit with just themselves, to unplug and to be with their own mind, this is where journaling is extremely important right now. When we begin to write out everything that's within our mind, it's a mind dump. We just dump everything that's here, no matter how ugly it is, no matter how scary it is, no matter how awful the words are. We need to go, oh my, look at my mind, look at my demonic mind. And that once you allow the mind to show up and to see, to acknowledgement is the first step. When we begin to acknowledge, we begin to dissolve everything that was locked up before. We've just taken the Pandora's box, opened it up. And this is where we need to look at one thing at a time, because it can be overwhelming because everything is just going to be popping up. Right now, people are waking up to so much that's been going on. I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be waking up to everything. I mean, I've had a long period of time to adjust. And another thing too is we need to allow ourselves to grieve right now, to grieve, because there is going to be a lot of letting go, a lot of letting go. It's a grieving process. And I think one of the biggest things that people are going to be experiencing is betrayal. And we need to feel the betrayal. We need to step into the process of betrayal to get real with where we're being betrayed, because the betrayal is so big. Everything that we have learned from our whole entire past has been a lie. So all of the lies are going to be crumbling so that we can step into who we truly are and the world we want. But yeah, it's going to be a healing process. And one of the greatest gifts that I discovered from my own awakening was allowing myself to drop to my knees and sob, and allowing the tears to heal, to transmute the pain within me. And we've been taught not to cry, that crying is a weakness. And when we're allowing ourselves to sob, to truly cry and not stop it in any way, tears are the most powerful cleansing mechanism of the body. It's so powerful. And we find that as we allow for that grieving process to move us through this time, we begin to lighten up from all of these emotions that are below the line. We begin to lighten up emotionally so that we can experience the lighter emotions of joy. And all of a sudden the heart begins to open up. We begin to breathe deeper. We begin to breathe in life force energy. And that is just, it's a journey. And I'm here to hold space for everyone that is saying, yes, I'm ready to do this deep work, because I know that it's important right now for me to develop myself as a human being.
Yeah, it's interesting how cleansing a good cry can be. I know that for me, that's never been an easy thing personally. So sometimes what I do is just put on a movie or a show that I know is going to bring the tears out with a Kleenex box and just let it go. Right?
Yes.
It's so and because you're right, you feel like once you've done that, 100 pounds has been lifted off you. Sometimes it can feel that way. I was actually just speaking to my medical doctor the other day just about the overwhelming, her and I talked for an hour. It's amazing. But we had this conversation about how the physical body is reacting to this emotional and essentially, I'd like to say spiritual stress, essentially. And she was saying they're seeing a lot. I can't remember the medical term that she said it was, but she said that people's brains are literally shutting down and they're going into something that almost could represent a stroke. And
Yes.
she said what that is just the brain is too overwhelmed by what's happening right now. And it just says, information overload, emotion overload, and shut down. And she said people are literally dropping to their knees. And I've seen this happen to loved ones looking like they're having a stroke. And she said it's not at all. It's an information, emotional overload that's happening to people. And she said we're seeing it more and more and more. And because people are not given the information you're talking about on how to deal, how to de-stress, how to recognize, acknowledge what's going on, and to shift that energy. So
Yes.
what do you think? So some of the steps, can you go through just maybe 2 or 3 of your top main steps that if somebody's struggling, like I feel this angst and I feel, this energy, to how can they start to release it?
Nikola Tesla was one of the most brilliant men, and he said, to get to know who you are, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. So everything that we are is made up of energy, and energy is emotion, right? Emotion is energy in motion. And we're here to feel all of the emotions. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. It is just, it's the essence of life, and we take this roller coaster up and down. And if we get stuck down here, then we're going to experience stress. We're going to experience depression. So one of the most powerful tips I give my clients is learning to deep breathe. Deep breathing is where we're naturally breathing. We're breathing in through our nose and bringing that breath all the way down into our belly. And 10 deep belly breaths will immediately shift the stress within the body from below the line. You'll immediately begin to feel, you won't maybe feel the freedom, but you will feel relief. And so relief is that first step. And that's what you want. You want to feel the relief from all the heavy emotions. So deep breathing, for 10 repetitions. And this is where you're breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. So you're breathing in to the count of 5, and then you're breathing out to the count of 5. We need to learn to slow our breath down, because when we're stressed and we're experiencing third dimensional reality right now, we begin to panic. And it's this panic actually and the anxiety that's taking the people to the hospital more than anything else right now. It's the panic and the anxiety. And so we need to really tune into our body, because our body is always telling us where we're at and emotionally, where we're at energetically. And our mind, our higher mind, our soul is whispering to us, stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop being on Facebook right now. Stop being on social media. Stop listening to the news. Stop. Go and take a walk in nature. Go and exercise. Move the body. So 1, deep breathing, absolutely. 2, nature. Mother Earth has a harmonic frequency that when we tune into that harmonic frequency, our body begins to relax immediately. And so when we begin to say yes to walking through our neighborhood, driving out to the mountains, moving our body is so key, as you know, Rachel. And I find that because so many people are paralyzed in fear, they're allowing their fear to take over. And this is where we need to have that thought, stop. I'm not allowing my fear to no longer control me. I'm not allowing this. Enough is enough. And it is that drawing a line in the sand moment that says, I'm taking my power back now. I am saying no to this life, and I'm saying yes to what I really want, what's important to me right now, and defining what is important to me right now. And our health needs to be a number 1 priority. Self-care.
Yes, and preventative measures. I think that's one of my biggest frustrations right now is I see so many band-aid solutions to so much stuff, and I'm thinking, why isn't the conversation? I mean, I know why the conversation, of course, but it's just not there to prevent and to take care of ourselves in a proper way. And again, unfortunately, it's that negative energy that doesn't want us to prevent.
Yes.
Right? It wants us to be in sickness and illness. And then, of course, the powers that be, of course, it makes more money when people are sick. There's no money in prevention.
Absolutely. Big Pharma is all about making money, and it has nothing to do with making us well whatsoever.
Well, especially when you look at the statistics that I think, unfortunately, most people don't know, that more people die from prescription medications than
Yes.
all the illicit drugs put together. I mean, I said to somebody one day that, taking heroin seems to be safer than some of these prescription medications. And they just looked at me and I thought, okay, I'm not telling people to do heroin, but I'm trying to make a point here that, more people die of prescription medications than those illegal, illicit drugs. And it's really frustrating from somebody coming in healthcare going, why isn't there more conversation about prevention and things that we can do naturally? Right?
You're absolutely right. The Rockefellers owned the oil and gas industry way back in the day, And when they discovered that they were using oil-based products in medicine, Rockefeller completely bought the medical establishment, and he created a medical system to then create these products with his oil, and that's when cancer appeared. And so yeah, it is the medical system that we have has never been for the people, and this is where we need to start becoming empowered and learning what it means to eat well, to let go of all of the food that is created in the for the food. Oh my gosh, there's so much I could talk to you right now about, so many things that I'm even discovering right now that are just so horrific. And I know that the more we let go of everything, fast food, processed foods, they're trying right now to put the vaccines into green food, into vegetables. So this is where we really need to allow for a new world to be created, that we are for the people, and everything is created to maximize on the growth and the love of humanity, and having compassion for humanity. And the more we step into looking after ourselves and not looking outside for authority figures to take care of us, and we begin to take our power back, this is so key right now. And it's really about us letting go of procrastination, letting go of the need to be seen, and to be what's the word I'm looking for? To be seen as someone who is wanting to belong to the program of what everybody else is doing. We need to step out and walk a new path. And it can be a lonely path, because maybe your family's not saying yes to nutrition. Maybe your family's not saying yes to exercise. Maybe your family's not saying yes to personal growth. And I find so many families are divided right now, but when all this is going on, we still need to say, no matter what, no matter if I look crazy, no matter if I look insane, I need to be saying yes to myself, to saying yes to my own soul right now.
Saying yes to being the black sheep, because that's not so bad.
Yes.
A lesson I learned a long time ago.
Definitely.
When we talk about, a lot of the times I think conversation is about cleansing the body. And I like how this conversation is really talking more about cleansing the mind and the soul, because although the three of them do go together, just like, let's say somebody goes on a cleanse, a juice fast, or a cleanse to try to clean out the physical body. For any of us who've ever gone through that, they know it doesn't feel good, right? It's just, you're going to go through a little bit of so-called hell before you're going to feel better. And the
Yeah.
same thing goes for the emotional and spiritual cleansing as well, is that, like you talked about, getting those demons out, releasing that ego of wanting to fit into the crowd, and just releasing all that negative energy, because once you let that go, you'll feel better, right? And sometimes with that cleansing comes, people start to leave your life.
Yes.
Jobs maybe start to leave your life. I mean, a lot of the times we cleanse out things that you never thought wanted to be cleansed, but once you get to the other side and you're in that higher vibration, you realize how those things weren't really good for you anyway, right?
Exactly.
I remember
Yes.
going through that once myself, I said to somebody once, I said, I'm doing this and all my friends are leaving my life. And that person had said, there's a reason why they're leaving your life. So embrace that, so that more people who are going to support your life in the way you want to be supported can come in. Because if, you keep the other ones there, there's no space for the ones that can support you.
Yes.
right?
And
So I
right now
think
there's so much letting go that is
that's right.
occurring. The letting go of relationships, letting go of jobs, letting go of our homes, letting go of, and shifting and allowing for the movement to for life to move us in the direction that we're meant to go right now. And as much as we can see that letting go as being a really bad thing, it's scary because we're moving into the unknown. And this is the big unknown that we're moving into right now, right? Yeah, it's so true, Rachel, that we just it's learning how to trust ourselves.
That's right. And trust that it's okay to surrender and
Yeah.
that we'll be taken care of,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I do believe that we are the light is already won. If there's winning and losing, which I don't really believe that, but I do believe that we are already there. We've already stepped over into fifth dimensional consciousness. It's right here, right now. And I do believe that the dark structures, the demonic Luciferian structures, it's already dissolved in so many ways. This is right now what we're experiencing is just the last fight.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to grab on to the rope and do whatever they can to bring as many people with them. And I do believe that the divine plan is for all of us to rise up into the new earth, and it's very exciting for me. And I as much as it is scary for many, I'm also seeing the other side. The light is already here. The love is already here. And we just need to tune into it on a vibrational frequency level. It's just like radio stations, right? There's so many different radio stations on different frequencies. They all exist right here, right now. We just need to tune in, to fine tune our own path and tune in to what serves us and to say yes to this.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
So Karen, I think that's a really great segue. Would you be open to sharing a short meditation with all of us to help us release fear and embrace and walk into that more positive space?
Absolutely, yes. So this is where I'm going to ask your listeners to close their eyes, and I want you to start deep breathing. So we're gonna do a few deep belly breaths just to bring us into the present moment. And this is where you're just letting go of yesterday and you're letting go of tomorrow and allowing yourself to be present, because in the present moment, right here, right now, this is where your power lies. And we're just breathing deeply, just letting go of stress, just letting go. And this is where you can say to yourself, I trust myself. I trust my divine mind. I am safe. I am healthy. And just breathing deeply into any area of your body that's feeling any tension. Just bring your breath into that area and let go even more. Just deepening into relaxation. Relaxation is where the creative mind begins to open up. And just breathing in the silence. And I'm going to just take you on a visualization journey. And it's okay if you're not able to visualize, just place your intention and attention on my voice. We're going to go and meet your higher self. So I want you to see yourself walking along a beach. And just see if you can hear the sounds of the waves crashing against the sand as the water trickles up to your feet. See if you can feel the water, the warmth of the water touching your feet now as you walk along this beach. Blue sky, sun shining. Your visualizations deepen when you use your senses. So see if you can feel the sun's rays on your skin. Can you hear the seagulls flying above you? And as your awareness expands, you see someone approaching you on the beach, walking towards you. And as they get closer and closer, you realize that this is another version of you. This is your higher self. And your higher self loves you unconditionally. Your higher self knows every experience you've ever had in this lifetime and beyond. Your higher self knows every experience, every emotion, every sadness and hurt, every joyful experience you've ever had. And you see this higher self, this version of you, this higher version of you standing before you now. And just notice how you feel in your heart as you acknowledge your higher self. And just become aware of how you feel. Do you feel connected? Do you feel disconnected? Without making it feel right, wrong, good, or bad. Becoming aware is so key, and acknowledging where you're at is the beginning of the journey to connecting and integrating your higher self. So this moment now, your higher self is going to walk with you side by side. You walk together along the beach, and you're drawn to ask your higher self a question that's been on your mind for some time, and your higher self is going to give you the answer. The answer will always be the first thought you have after you've asked the question. So I'm just going to hold space here, and you're going to ask the question in your mind. And just take your time and be open to receiving the truth. And take a deep breath in. And I want you to thank your higher self for being there and knowing that you can come back to this beautiful place and space anytime you choose to connect with your higher self and build that relationship, and ask your higher self any question that's been on your mind. And your higher self will always give you the truth. And now you continue walking along the beach, and your higher self says goodbye for now, knowing that you're going to be back. And now I want you to feel that little boy or little girl self inside of you, and you're just going to run as fast as you can along the beach. And you're just going to feel the joy of meeting your higher self. And you can do cartwheels, whatever you want to do. You can yell out loud in your mind and just feel the joy of meeting your higher self now.